All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash. Giving double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. Shalom to the few sisters that watch. Start off by saying Shabbat Shalom to all the brothers, sisters out there watching. Just gonna come with a quick lesson, going into how Esau, and his wickedness is being uncovered, man. Yahweh Shem Shai is putting a spirit upon these people to, collapse, reveal themselves, you know, show the world who they really are, And this is something that, we already know, but, the majority of these people still are not outraged in an uproar about these files, man. It's almost as if it's, not even, it's not real or something, You would think the outrage about people, cooking babies and torturing kids and, exploiting kids, in any manner would have a greater outrage than we see. The public is not outraged. The government officials are acting as if, they're concerned, and the mainstream media is not even putting this in the forefront, man. We're talking about actually, deleting babies, trafficking kids, and eating kids, man. It sounds crazy, but that's the wickedness of this devil, man. So let me see if I could pull this up on Instagram, Lord willing to come up. But this is just another way this devil is revealing himself, man. So let's see.
And I said, I'm not.
Yeah, as we see, it's cued on the screen, RFK Jr. I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off toilet seats. So, the spirit is being put upon these devils to reveal themselves, man. So let's hear this, and just a clear example of this devil revealing himself. Let's see.
Not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me. Right. Like if I don't. And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me.
And this is how far, this devil has fallen, man. Even though they've been low, they going even lower now. So let's grab the book of Obadiah. Come on, yo. Obadiah. Ain't but one chapter. The book of Obadiah. And we'll drop down to verse 6. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? So this devil is being revealed, in one way, a great, one of the main ways is by the prophets. Everywhere this devil turns, the prophets are, bringing forth the deeds of his wickedness, to the forefront, to the masses, day in and day out. And this is all the work of the Lord, and doing this work is having an effect on this devil's rulership, the way he goes about things, You know, at this point, it's like he's saying, whatever, man. Who gonna stop me? Who gonna stop me? You know. Um, but we know ultimately the Lord is gonna stop this devil, man. You know, who shall bring me down? Who shall bring me down? You know. Matter of fact, we can go up 2 verses. Matter of fact, we can go to verse 3. It says, "The pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, and saith in his heart, Who shall bring me down to the ground?" This is the mentality of these wicked elites. You know, and some low level Edomites, man. You know, that pride has been placed upon them, and they're puffed up with pride, man. So, verse 4 says, though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I thee thence will I bring thee down, said the Lord. So the Lord said, I'm gonna bring you down. You know, man, these scriptures are beautiful, man. Just sitting back, anticipating, patiently waiting, for the Lord to just ultimately just destroy this man. And knowing that it's gonna happen is satisfying, but we just, hey man, we just ready for it all to come crumbling down, man. That's what we're waiting on. So let's go. Let's go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. And we'll drop down to verse 15 on this one. It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse 15. It says, Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunketh also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And this devil has, made the nations drunk off the wine of Babylon the Great. You know, corrupted nations, and then putting it out there, as if these people are savages, compared to the standards that they put up. Even though they infiltrated a lot of these governments, a lot of these places, and set forth wickedness, whether it be through their secret agencies or whatever it may be. The scriptures say, never trust thine enemy. I think it's the book of Proverbs, the book of Psalm says his mouth was smooth, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Matter of fact, let's get that. Yep, Psalm 55 and 21. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And war, can be implemented in several ways, man. Especially now. You got cyber wars. You have all types, financial wars. And this devil does it all. So, to read that again, this book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 15. It says, Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, and maketh him drunketh also, that thou mayest look upon their nakedness. So, verse 16, it says, Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord Yahweh's wrath. So like The cup of the Lord Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. So, you know, especially, man, going back to verse 15, this devil really has done this to us, man, Israelites. Place drugs in the community. Um, you know, when it comes to jobs, they have all the power, man. Then they make it look like Jake just don't care, full of violence, rage, laziness, when all the chips are against them, man. Us, you know. And then they want to put us in the forefront on the news as if, we're committing all the crimes. Um, number one on welfare, number one on drug abuse. Which these things may be true, but it's all the works of this devil, man. Esau, Edom. That's why that's why you Jakes better wake up, man, and understand who your enemy really is. All you gotta do is go to the book of Psalms chapter 83 and read it. And the first one on the list is Esau, Edom, man. All right, let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 47. And we're going to start from the top. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 47. In verse 1, it says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." Come down and sit in the dust. And this represents confusion. And we know Babylon the Great is the chief place of confusion. It says, "Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." Why? Because the Lord is exposing his man for who he really is. That whore that sit upon the beast is being revealed for who she really is. It says, "Take up the millstones, grind the mill, uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers." Yeah, so this devil is being exposed. He's exposing himself. And first and foremost, the prophets out on the highways and hedges, the ones that truly believe in the correct doctrine, 100% doctrine. GMS, first and foremost, understand who the enemy is, understand that the Lord hate these people. And that hate, it is righteous. So, we hate them also, man. We absolutely cannot stand the Edomites, man. Their spirit is totally adverse to ours. Anytime you encounter an Edomite, you gonna know it, man. Your spirit gonna tell you this person ain't right. So, verse 4, it says, "As for our Salaki." Verse 3, it says, "Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance. I will not meet thee as a man." So the Lord is coming back to destroy Babylon the Great, aka America. And he's coming in that angelic power, man, that these people will not be able to stop. So that's what we're waiting on, man. We're waiting. This man is, man, we talking about a group of people that normalizes selling and eating and, essaying kids, man. Or anybody at that. But it's all coming to the forefront. And this is just going to be another chip off the block of this man kingdom falling. It's crumbling now. But the chips are falling. They're just falling a little slow, but they're falling, Verse 4 says, "As for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel." Yup. Holy One of Israel, not the Holy One of the Edomites, not the Holy One of the Moabites, Ammonites, Elamites, Israel. So, with that being said, just want to, constantly give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakodash. Shalom.